We are in Yechave daat, book 6, Siman 47. I actually spoke about this halacha. If you come minha here during the weekdays, I spoke about this halacha, but I want to explain the logic behind it. So I think Yariv, Uncle Jack, you probably know this halacha already, but I want to go a little deeper. And so, Hayim yesh isur betola'im hanimsa'im b'mayim or b'perot gam kishe'enam nir'im la'ayin klal ela rak al yedei microscope. Is it forbidden to eat bugs that are on food, vegetables, whatever it is, that are not detectable by the human eye? They're only microscopically detected. Hadabar barur, says Chacham Ovadia alav shalom. Hadabar barur, she'chol ma she'asta Torah b'devarim etluim b'dika al yedei re'iyah. Anything that requires us to use our eyes in search, enam ela al yedei re'iyah tev'it. It must be natural searching with an eye. Ki ha'adam yir'eh le'enayim. A person uses his eyes to see, and that's how you're expected by the Torah to judge. But you have a microscope, and you're not supposed to use a microscope to search things out on the Torah. The Torah would never expect you to take out a microscope and look for bugs in your lettuce. If bugs are so small that they're not able to be seen by the human eye, they are not forbidden to consume. Even though what's the difference between these two things? Zichukit megadelet and a microscope.
I'm using a magnifying glass.
Oh, magnifying glass. You don't have to use a magnifying glass. If it's not able to be seen by human eye, Hashem will not expect you to search for it. And therefore, the Sefer Chokhmat Adam explains, Bibinat Adam explains, quoting the Sefer Haberit, the wise scientists have said, you can't have vinegar. Wine cannot turn into vinegar unless there's bacterial something growing in it, fungi, whatever. I don't know what your fermentation. Fermentation is bacteria, and so how could you ever have kosher vinegar? That's the question. If you can't eat microscopic bugs or beans, how could you ever have kosher vinegar? Now, Mr. Keb, a microscope, if you look in the microscope, you'll see it's full of micro beings, organisms in a. Thank you. You woke up early today. It's in the vinegar. How could you ever drink vinegar? Required to boil the vinegar first to boil out any of the microorganisms in there. It's crazy. No one's going to say that vinegar is not a Jewish food. How do you know that vinegar? Why? Maybe vinegar is not a Jewish food. How do you know? Maybe vinegar is not able to be eaten by Jews. Do you know that vinegar is kosher? Question. No, but how do we know? Akiva, maybe vinegar should not be eaten by Jewish people.
Is that the same like yeast?
I don't know.
Yeast also
that's good also.
Yeast is a microorganism, which is what is fermenting the wine. And the
very good. The answer is, and the same thing will apply to yeast. Very good point. It says straight out in the Torah, the Nazir cannot have chametz. A Nazir, someone who doesn't have wine, swore off wine, he can't have vinegar. Mashma, everyone else can have vinegar. If vinegar is not kosher, what do you have to tell me? Nazir can have vinegar for. So we see. Well, vinegar was wine, but it has to be fermented. And he says over here that the scientists have proven that every vinegar is filled with micro. That's why apple cider vinegar. All the health people. I drink apple cider vinegar. I try to have every day a little apple cider. They say it's good for you with the microbiomes. Yeah, all vinegar is fermented. Yeah, without sugar. They say the sugar. I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard the sugar that they put in the yogurt kills off all the healthy.
Hold on.
And so by the yeah, especially if it's on the shelf already. So at the very least, I always tell my kids, we buy plain yogurt and add something right before you eat it. Add the sweetener. Don't let it sit on the shelf. It kills it.
Dead bug.
Depends. What do you call a bug? Micro bugs or bugs we can see? You can't eat dead bugs that we can see, for sure.
It's lactobacillus. And then the lactobacillus is in some.
In yogurt?
Yeah, that's why certain yogurt kosher is without lactobacillus.
I don't know.
Yeah, I read it. And
I don't know what lactobacillus. I don't know what that is. That they add in there?
Yeah.
Very interesting. I don't know.
And the market is without lactobacillus cultures.
The cultures they add to it. But they add other cultures, I guess kosher cultures to it. I don't know. So therefore we see in the Torah straight out that vinegar is kosher for everyone else. So it must be if vinegar is kosher, you're allowed to have microorganisms. And so therefore, also in the story of, and if you want to say, maybe not from the Pasuk, it's a straight out from Ruth. Ruth, in the story of Ruth, it says she dipped her bread in chametz. So we know exactly she actually did it. And so don't even tell me vinegar is not kosher. We know that Ruth had vinegar. Would the Pasuk tell us that Ruth is dipping her bread in something not kosher? No. Therefore, you say that it's kosher, and therefore, if you can't see it with the human eye, it's okay. The Sefer Meoreh Od writes, "Sheotam remesim ketanim meod." Those tiny creatures, she'enan nir'im ela ayedei microscope or hummus bekemach, or in flour also, maybe it's like yeast or flour, regular flour. I don't think has
Yeah.
not bugs. I'm saying small, microscopic. I don't know. Lo hashashu lahem hachavim kalam. The rabbis are not worried about this stuff. Only what we are talking, we can see in our eyes. This, the Gaon, Rabbi Yechiel Michal Epstein writes in the Sefer Al-Fushlan the same thing, that the small bugs that are not seen by the human eye are kosher. And so writes Rav Shlomo Kluger, that with a magnifying glass, it doesn't do anything for you halachically, because it doesn't matter. Because we know what the scientists say. Even if you take water, the microscope, and put water in the microscope, you're going to see tons of living creatures in the water. We don't care about drinking water, obviously. You're allowed to drink water. You do not have to search things with a magnifying glass.
Having a conversation about the issue with people that think that the possibility of eating like affects you spiritually, like takes away from your.
Well, we know for sure it affects you spiritually. If you eat not kosher things, it says straight out in the pasuk. We read it on Yom Kippur. It's not talking about tumah. It's timtum halev. It closes you. I don't know how you explain that. It makes you, unless you say physically, it makes you groggy. Why would that happen?
It makes you vicious, you know.
It changes the way you are, what you eat. Timtum halev. Because this is I know for sure, like I'm trying not to Hasidish on you, but the Hasidish farm are filled with this, and the Zohar is also. But we're staying in the rationalistic lane. You are what you eat, which is why the animals that we eat are not birds of prey. We only eat animals that are like herbivores. We don't eat animals that eat other animals usually. Are there any exceptions? I don't think so. Huh?
A microscope and a magnifying glass, two very different tools.
Halachically, it's the same thing.
No, it can't be.
Why?
Obviously,
Magnifying glass is like your glass.
I understand, but halachically, a human eye is a human eye. That's it.
Okay, what if I lose my sight?
No, a normal human eye. A normal, healthy 20/20, a 20/20 human eye. Yeah, otherwise I'll be eating anything I want. I can't see the darkness.
When I work in camp, one thing we go to you go to like strawberry picking, and I was taking eat the strawberry right off the root, and I was like, "Is it like you don't check the bug for anything?" He's like, "No, you can't see that." So I was so confused, but you still have to wash that.
Yeah, I have to admit.
It's not like you don't see it.
It's hata'ani maskid. Every time we go strawberry picking with my kids, first of all, they're so red.
It's so
It's crazy. We go to Underwood Farms with the kids in Moore Park, and for the first hour, I don't touch a strawberry, but I always cave every single time. I pick it off. I do. I pick it up. I look at it. I take my glasses off because I can see everything. I don't see anything on it. I bite it and I leave it like an inch from the green part on top, and I throw it. You throw it. And I don't think you have to pay for those because that's what
No, you
the
don't have to do that.
that's what the entry is for. When I was mashgiach, I used to see stuff, but I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I. Okay. Anyway, in the Sefer Tiferet Israel, he goes. This is another interesting twist on this question. Hevi shegadol echad, he says there was a great rabbi. He doesn't say who it is. חשב לעתיד דגים שהקשקשים שלהם, קשקשים שלהם, I read the Torah, קשקשת, נראים רק על ידי microscope. He wants to go the other way. He says, I have a fish that's not kosher. Let's call it catfish or swordfish or something. But I know that under a microscope, I can see scales. He wants to use it for the other one.
Swordfish is probably like
Maybe swordfish,
that's why.
because it has fins, right? But it doesn't have scales. But under a microscope, so it's kosher. And so he wants to use it the other way. And the answer is you have to be even both sides. He didn't know what to say. And the Beit Midrash said, no, it's not kosher. The reason is the same thing. It goes by the human eye for better or for worse. If you can't see the scales with the human eye, without using any of these vessels, magnifying glasses, microscope, whatever you want, it's not called the scale. And so to all other halakha questions, all other kosher questions, it only goes by the human eye, and that's it. And I'll skip the last part. You have, he does add one thing, I'll just say out loud. Rav Moshe Feinstein, I think, says, if you want to try to make drinking water not kosher, if there's bugs in it, microscopic, and you have to boil it, then how could you even breathe in the air? He says the air is full of microbiomes as well. So you can't even breathe. That's what they say. It's never going to have an end to this. So they're everywhere. These microorganisms, they're all over the place. And so therefore you can't say that.
Are there people that go to the extreme and look at lettuce like?
Yes.
I'm sure there are.
Yes.
I'm sure there are.
Big time.
Of course. They do it
Especially in
like
New York,
Are you sure? Are you sure?
They use it, they walk around and cook it.
Are you sure?
I heard this stuff in the food business.
Not my circle. I don't know. It's a little crazy. Anyway, I was a mashgiach. We used our eye. We had a light box. So you put the lettuce on the light box so you can see really good.
Use a magnifying
No,
glass.
I just use my eye.
It comes with the light box.
I don't use a magnifying glass. No.
You don't have to do
I never did. If you have creatures that are not seen by the human eye, microscope, and by him, they're not forbidden to eat. Not from the rabbis, not from the Torah. It's no problem. Just use the human eyes that we have. Romaine lettuce is very messy. Let's check with our human eyes. Take off all the bugs, wash it. After that, you're clear to go.
it's not that question.
Yeah.
Raspberries and